I do like Cerberus coming in that context. I'm going to throw the prediction to Cerberus because, obviously.
Yeah.
But
don't have to justify it.
There is definitely an angle for Team Secret.
Fair enough. Let's see if they can find that angle, as cute as it is. Marby, we'll talk to you before the next game. Don't you worry. It's gonna be Revel.
That was funny. I like the acute joke. That was a very good angle joke.
Very good angle joke.
Very good. It was a nice joke angle. Anyhow, the important bit of this game that I think it comes down to like how I see things playing out is that Cerberus' composition is excruciatingly well-rounded. Like across the board, they've got good engage, they've got multiple frontliners, they've got CC, they've got disengage, they've got safety. The only thing they're missing is like a second carry, just in case one of them happens to get blown up. But again, Ari can do a good amount of lifting. We've seen Yato do it before, so they've got pick potential. They've got good team fighting and easily accessible team fighting. Everything about this composition from Cerberus is everything I want to see in a composition. Even like damage percentage shares across all members, like it goes pretty high. Like Zinzal's got good damage for like an AD champion for the early game. I could not gush enough about how good Cerberus' composition is in my mind, and so I'm very hyped. I feel like Team Secret doesn't have that kind of firepower. It requires so much for them to be able to take a win in this one. That just has to go against a game script that you'd normally expect.
I will say the one thing I do like about Team Secret's comp, even though I do agree with you overall, is so far Artifact and Eddie have both been playing really well, and they've been entrusted with the power to carry this game. They're playing Rise and Jinx. They're bringing a hell of a lot of damage. So, I think if you're Team Secret, you know who you're up against. You know you're not the favorite. So empower your best players and just have a red hot crack. You know, you can't always outdraft, one of the best drafting teams in the league.
It's true. And even with a lesser draft, I think it'd be easy enough to say that Cerberus just in general is favored in a series like this. So again, you're throwing what you've got in terms of power against the wall. I think the hidden gem has been Hero. I think Hero's had some great performances, and I like that they're hopefully empowering him a little bit. But like you said, the majority of the true carry potential behind team fights goes to the members that have been having that kind of split. Eddie's somebody that we've gushed about a little bit. And Artifact, obviously, pretty professional. Fantastic charm. One of many I'm sure we'll see from Yato over the course of this game for sure.
Yeah, good read there from Yato, but a little bit lazy by Artifact not to just stand behind the minion. There's no reason not to. No need. It's not like Rise can't hit over minions, while obviously Ari... the charm can't. But yeah, Yato, look, he had an absolute blinder last week. His Silas game in particular, oh my word, was so good to see. I'm really hoping he can bring that one back. Because, look, Cerberus, again, maybe I sound a little bit biased, but it's a bit more, it's a lot of fun when Garm don't win the league. Because Garm win the league a whole lot. So I like having Cerberus in form where they can actually challenge Garm. Ooh, Ron, you are up a creek without a paddle. Does have a lantern to bring in his jungler, though, so maybe he's found an engine. As Fook now moving forward, gets the knock up onto Eddie. Artemis cycles his guns, but he's not even going to be involved. If that was a bait, then you need to quit and become a fisherman.
Yeah, that was kind of insane from Round OP if that was fully intentional, which it kind of looks more and more like it actually was. Being able to combine with holding the wave to make sure that Artemis was going to come back to a fully stacked wave after the longsword back, combined with the additional kill that they put onto the Jinx is just humongous. And you can see the wave was stacking. If they had shoved those last couple minions, that Artemis might have caught it. But more importantly, the play afterwards just means that, of course, Fook 1 also gets a kill to start off this game, which is huge.
We have a dive in top.
Especially against Lucian.
Poss in a lot of trouble, but he gets the 1-for-1.
That's something else. Again, it's a trade-off where Poss is like, he's supposed to be this lane sacking man where it started with like Graves, and he does a lot of damage on the Graves when necessary, but I know that Mobby shared that like the damage share wasn't there, and it's because he wasn't interacting all that much with the remainder of the map. His job was just kind of sit there and deny everything, and he was mechanically good enough to make it work. And right there's another example of it, where Poss on this Gragas just has to sit here inside of the laning phase, make sure the Jace doesn't get away with any sort of criminal activity by pulling gold off of the tower, right there's a great way of doing it. Not only does Jace not pull the kill, but also gets punished and isn't able to do anything else against the Gragas, who did get a kill underneath the tower, so now gets to respond with tier of his own, and it makes the wave clearing so much harder for the Jace. It's harder to set up for ganks like this even more in the future.
Yeah, and Hero had already TP'd back to lane before that dive happened. So he doesn't even get to have any wave control because Poss is able to dictate what he wants. It's not probably going to matter in the long run. Jace is sort of calls the shots in this matchup. Just by nature of the picks. Is Penguin helping Artifact shove this wave in, making sure Yado can't get any early roams. But so far, Cerberus in full control.
Yeah, they've got just about everything that they need across the map. You got a solid start for Artemis. He's up about 10 CS over top of Eddie, and the wave is pushing away from them, so that's it's not going to recover anytime soon. The Dragon is something I'm paying attention to, just because, again, if Cerberus is able to control it, it feels like they have a lot of value being able to play inside of the river, to play towards what will be Team Secret's approach, because they've got a number of ways to punish them when they're on approach between just the tools they've got on their team. So, not to mention, again, a 5-on-5 like they've got, which is a pretty solid setup across the board, just means that it's easy enough for them to be able to accomplish things. What a bait. They don't... Oh, my goodness.
They started off well, but that's an excellent play there by Ron. Not quite good enough to save his own life, but the 1-for-1 has already come in, and it's an ADC still alive for Cerberus. And look how well this Aphelios is being played. He pulls out the Gravitum. Artemis, you are such a cracker of a player. I love him.
Absolute masterclass from Artemis with the positioning. He took 0 auto attacks basically during the course of that fight. Perhaps that's a bit of an overstatement, but definitely without taking too much damage was able to position between everybody perfectly. And Ron OP, the ward really far up inside of the brush, caught out Penguin well before this happened, and he just blazed this so effectively. He's contesting Zuhao in the brush. He's able to flay them. The Glacial is where they're on top of the entire time, so it prevents the escape from either Zuhao or Penguin on the backside of this, and neither one of them was going to have the damage to challenge Fook 1 at all. It just means that Artemis gets to focus on pulling every single kill that he can, rather than having to focus down one target and maybe letting one slip away. Perfect execution from the bot lane here from Cerberus, who, again, consistently since basically that week 1 matchup against Scam have looked really, really good.
Yado's dead.
Okay.
Not sure. Right. It looks like it was just a collapse. 3 of them. It'll happen. Yep. They're going to try and answer it onto Eddie. The hook doesn't land, but they get that final shot. Ron! Oh, wow. That was a really spooled up tower there. Still, it's a win for Cerberus in the bot lane as Artemis gets to catch all this farm. But let's see what happened here. Yeah. Rune Prison into Lee.
Not much speed in that. Yeah, couldn't even press the ultimate button, unfortunately. And then the response kills on bottom side. Again, you do give one over to the Jinx, but she loses a bit of her wave. And now also the second one's going to get shoved, so a fair amount of these minions are going to tank some damage as well. And it buys a free back timer for Artemis to potentially redeploy either into top side for Rift Herald or back to bot side if they want to go for Dragon. Team Secret's going to get shoved out of this one. You can see how quickly Ron and Yado are actually here.
Ron, still level 5. Always good to track that with the supports, but considering he's level 5 and Zuhao's not even here, it's not too bad. Penguin! Oh my word! That bent around the blue buff! Absolute traitor, but he does play it well, moving over to the Gromp, but doesn't matter, Yado wants the kill. They pick it up, they get the Herald, and now they want Hero. Another charm! Yado's charms are point and click, and I gotta say, he's a cute guy, so it makes sense. As this Ahri is just dominating the Rift.
It was last split as well. During the winter that we actually saw Vex come in for the first time, and Yado was the best at that champion, and now that Ahri is re-entering the meta, we're seeing Yado once again on these mage-type champions really take an absolute dominating position over top of most of the other mid laners inside of the league. Right there, again, masterclass Ahri play. He got punished just seconds ago in the mid lane, and they burnt tools for it. Here, punishing them off the back with the retreat from the Rift Herald. Look at that, around the blue buff. An incredible charm coming out, but then in position so that Penguin can't try to get out in any way. Worst case scenario, you wait for the 4 members to full collapse into the tower and you kill Hero and you kill Penguin in one fell swoop, but instead they didn't even need that. The charm or the charge got reset on the ultimate because of the kill against the Lee Sin, and that meant that Yado could go diving, look for a charm, and find Hero in the back end of things. So multiple kills in the back part of the Ahri. Combine that with the Rift Herald that was just taken. You don't have the Jace going at all inside of the game like this. Your bottom lane is doing well. Cerberus kind of striking at all facets of the game right now.
Yeah, they really are. And this is the thing that I was asking both of you, what are you looking for from Cerberus? And this is what I was looking for, was just that their mechanics and the killer instinct of their carries were still crisp. Because it's something that sometimes, they start slacking on, they start getting a bit lazy. But Yado, I mean, the game speaks for itself. And then that bot lane play out of Artemis, the fingers are still cracking. Definitely no arthritis setting in.
No, nothing like that. In Cerberus, they're looking a lot hungrier than they were, I think, at the beginning of the split as well. That first series against GAM was not one that gave a lot of confidence for what this team was going to do. And you can see how much different they look from that first day, opposed to what I would consider to be actually the team that currently gatekeeps the playoffs for the VCS. I feel like if you beat Team Secret, you're able to get in, and if you don't beat Team Secret, then unfortunately you're going to get kicked out of playoffs at this point. And Cerberus absolutely just dominating this team, showing the gap between, again, some of the middle of the pack teams like Team Secret versus some of our top tier, like S-class type players and teams like Cerberus is currently.
For sure. I think Cerberus is in a position where I don't think, have too much of a chance in SEA games. I haven't been following SEA games as closely as perhaps I should, but there's a lot of league in the world.
Yeah.
They don't have much of a chance because they've been using the Puppies roster. I think maybe they realize, wait a minute, we're not going to SEA games. We need to win the split. If this is going to be a successful split after such a good winter that we had, we need to win the split. So doubling down, the hunger's back, and you love to see it. I really can't wait for the rematch of Cerberus versus Garm. I think that's going to be a real cracker of a match because when Garm is in form and Cerberus is in form, you love to see it. Yado finally misses a charm. I say misses, it was flashed, but it didn't connect.
Yeah, there's two matches that I have that are currently coming up over the next 2 weeks. They're actually right back to back with one another that I think determine quite a bit about how the state of the league is looking, which is the end of this week. We get to see Cerberus versus Saigon, which is the big one for me.
That's huge. That's a huge game.
Bottom tower. Yeah, that's a huge game because it decides whether or not Saigon is in second place, third place, whatever the situation might be. But it shows us, I think, more competitiveness for how close are the teams that are actually competing against GAM, right? Like these are the two teams that we see as having the best chance at the moment of beating that team and taking the number one spot potentially away and going to MSI. And so that to me is a huge litmus as to whether or not Saigon is within striking distance, whether or not Cerberus is well above the rest of the field. I think that's going to be fantastic. The series afterwards is actually Team Secret involved as well because it's Team Secret versus Team Flash. I was expecting Flash to win today to see whether or not they were a middle of the pack team, whether or not they were like a fourth place playoff type team or what the situation might be. But again, that gives us a lot of litmus once again between the bottom half teams and what looks to be, again, the gatekeeper personally, I believe, for playoffs in Secret at the moment, because somebody has to step up if they want to take that spot away from them, because at the moment I feel as though Team Secret is on a trajectory to take that number 4 spot.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, particularly after how Flash performed earlier today. I might have said that maybe they were 4th, but not playing like that, you know?
Not anymore. No.
Not playing like that. SBTC, of course, also in that discussion. Don't want to leave them out.
Not at all.
But yeah, I agree. It's kind of, Team Secret is the gatekeeper. As Cerberus, they want even more plates onto Artemis. How often do we say that? A bit of a broken record, as Pos is threatened, but there's only one minion left and the Q missed, so I think he's alright. He's got the barrel as well. This dive is doomed to fail.
They did the Caitlyn thing where they got bottom tower with Artemis and then said, all right, top lane. And they went and got top tower, and now they've got 3 members here. Pos is in the wave fighting against Hero. He's just going to try to run out the other side of this fight, and it's working surprisingly effectively.
He's running. There's a Rakan coming. I don't think he ever survives. Yeah, no, he goes down, but look how much he drew. He drew 4 members, and it took a while to kill him. Really well done by Pos.
And they're not even going to be able to punish bottom tower, right? The whole point of the dive there is not only to get the kill, because the kill is valuable, but more so it's to punish so that Jace gets gold off the tower, so you can pull that bottom tower in exchange for what happened on top lane. But Ahri is already back on bottom side. Yano has already been able to catch the wave, and Hero has no chance of winning that one-on-one up against the Ahri in the side lane right now with the items that he's got. He's just got the no magic mantle. That's not even enough. If Fook One's going to punish Eddie on the other side of things,
he does get onto him eventually. Xin Zhao. Now, I want to ask you something, because I actually haven't seen this, as there is a TP onto Lantern. It's the Chem Tank on Gragas.
Chem Tank on Gragas. I mean, it's probably the exact same theory as building any other tank item. The biggest difference is, like, there's no AP in this, but the idea is just, like, if you charge up the Chem Tank and you throw an E at somebody with an empowered W, the amount of burst damage is kind of insane. Plus, it's cheap. It's really, really effectively cheap.
A little bit of damage onto Poss, but he's very safe. Yardo fishing with a charm. Doesn't quite land it, but still, it is Cerberus with all the pressure, all the control. A fair gold lead, but Secret has been making decent moves to keep themselves in this one. Supportal combat.
You menace, Yuhao. You absolute menace. Ruining the back timer for Ron OP. That actually has some decent implications, because Rift Herald, all of a sudden, there's no support necessarily there for it at the time, especially when it comes to trying to recapture Vision Control. And yet, there they are leaving. They have mid push. They have, I guess, top push wasn't necessarily in their favor, but Poss had to back up to the tower. Yato doesn't quite have TP, so I don't know if they're tracking that one. But they've got complete control of top river. They had a chance. I feel like Rift Herald was definitely on the cards for the team right there, and yet they just kind of abandoned it. And they're giving time now for Cerberus to actually set up around the dragon. Maybe that's what they want to contest. Maybe they don't want to give that up, but they went on full back timers. You can't go on, you can't have Rift Herald available, go on full back timers and give up the Rift Herald chance to go and be late for a contestation against the Ocean Drake. Who made this call? I demand to know.
Oh, it definitely wasn't a great call. Penguin goes for the steal, but slips on the ice as Fuquan secures. They get a push in mid, but Poss is here. Plenty of time to catch. So, yeah. I mean, I feel your pain, Rebel. It really feels like Team Secret had the whole wide world and didn't get on the plane.
Yeah, like I said, Rift Herald was available the whole time, and Cerberus, I'm thinking, actually thought that the setup there was that they were going to trade Rift Herald for the Dragon. It kind of seemed like that's how they were posturing, and yet here they are. They're just like, wait, you didn't take it? And then they're right back to it. And yes, Artifact is here, but all 5 members of Cerberus are actually around for a fight like this.
Artifact? Ooh.
He's going to force out Artifact. Ooh.
Tries very hard there. Does get the flash and zones Artifact away. For now, at least, a Hex Gate being used. They're going to try and just pincer them here. They've split the horns, but get nothing. They get a mid tower, so
they do.
You know, not bad.
That's valuable.
But still, interesting moves out of Team Secret.
I'm so lost as to what their intentions were across like the last 3 minutes of gameplay. Like, I feel like that Rift Herald should have been theirs 3 minutes ago, and they would have traded for Dragon, and that would have been fine. And ultimately, I think what ends up happening is that they end up getting the mid tower with the Rift Herald anyway. So I suppose the only difference now between what happened then and what happened now is that the Rift Herald has gone over to Cerberus to be able to respond. That's ultimately the difference in terms of like a full resource that ends up going, and it's just a trade of mid tower.
That's a pretty big difference, Rebel.
It is. It's a massive difference.
But alas, Team Secret still doing their best. As Cerberus bear down on the mid lane, they will get an extra charge out of this Herald. We'll actually just pick up this inner tower. Artemis has gone Bloodthirster second item, which is an interesting. Oh yeah, I mean, if you get a Gale Force forward, I guess you should go Bloodthirster. You absolute psychopath, Artemis.
If he had flash, he'd always flash that too. Unfortunately, he didn't have the cooldown up. I was so excited because I thought that was gonna one tap Eddie right there.
I genuinely thought Eddie was just about to get assassinated.
Yeah, the 200 years champion running down another ADC with flashing cleanse with just one full combo would have kind of been nuts right there. It doesn't actually cost all that much either, because it was like Moonlight Vigil and Gale Force, which are both valuable, but they're not indisposable, right? Like they're not something that you have to have in order for the game to go in your direction. So I love the fishing attempt right there. Kind of took a little bit of the air out of the sails. So far, also, the double side laning, to me, has not actually been all that valuable for Secret. Are they diving in Ari right now?
Yeah, they are. He hit the charm onto Hero, had the Essence Rush as well. So this has gone wrong for Secret as the reinforcements arrive. Yato misses one spell, but it just doesn't matter because Pos gets the kill. And Secret, I'll give you a tip. Don't dive an Ari with ult up. Just don't.
Yeah, the teleport didn't help anything either. Rano P is he dodged down. This is incredible. Rano P is insane. Okay, they're just starting up Baron. That's easy enough for them to be able to snag up. Smite is available for both junglers, just making sure to take stock of everything that they've got in their back pocket. Seems as though Team Secret aren't full committing to this. 80's at less than 5,000 health. They are down to about a third of the health on the Baron buff.
Gets caught, but it's traded immediately. Pos takes a lot of damage. The Crescent Guard comes out as well. So Baron is off the table for now. So Team Secret, 1 for 1, and you stop Baron? Yeah, you take that.
You take that all day, especially if the mid tower goes down to Eddie, because he's able to kind of shift directly into mid lane after the mid lane had been pushed in by Penguin. I was a little hesitant to say that was a good idea, because I thought that Cerberus definitely needed a little bit more of a boot to kick them off the Baron than what they were giving them at the time. But apparently that was enough. They were ultimately baiting the Baron, which I think was a mistake, because they could have blitzed it down, probably taken a fight afterwards for an even number of members on both sides. But ultimately it ends up being okay, although mid tower, again, didn't go down because Eddie decided not to full commit for it. He might have overstepped in having done so, but he needed to kill 3 minions, which is like 2 rockets maximum, and then it would have been 3 or 4 auto attacks onto the tower would have been more than enough as Pos.
Once again, they go on Pos. This is, a bit of bullying, I think, as he does finally fall. It took him a while.
Only lantern from Come on, come to say he's dead, man. He's already dead. That had to just be a sympathy lantern at that point. Although it is going to open Dragon for Artemis because he's got green white, so it's the perfect gun setup to single the Dragon. Although he's got Bloodthirster, so it doesn't matter anyway. But still, easy enough.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You're going to actually finish it off, mate. Does it in the end. They get Soul Point. It's the Hextech Soul. Very, very strong. Yato moves up to just clean it up, but Secret. They trade it for an inner tower, so gold positive. In fact, Secret have clawed it back to basically... shut up. Move on. I meant to say basically dead even gold.
It's a matter of one of the biggest things is side laning on both sides. It has actually led to a pretty significant advantage in terms of gold for specifically Hero. You can see Hero's up to 247 CS, so he's well over 10 CS per minute, which is kind of insane to think about. He's up to 11 CS per minute almost in terms of what that number brings. So it's been the Jace that's actually been the massive beneficiary of a lot of the mid game. Now, the sacrifice, of course, has been a lot of objective play, a lot of turrets that have been brought down across the map, 3 dragons, the back pocket of Cerberus, but they also have done nothing to slow down the carries of Cerberus, which is truly also problematic, just because Artemis, again, closing in on 3 items, the Ares on 2 items with the Everfrost and the Horizon Focus, which are 2 big items for being able to one-shot somebody in a single combo. And so Team Secret's got a lot on their plate ahead of them, right? Because they have to deal with Artemis's big carry potential. They have to deal with the fact that, they're down to 3 dragons. They have to somehow claw through the fact that, Soul could be very easily attained by Cerberus in the right circumstances. And so Hero's got to make this gold count, right? If you're going to give all this time over to a Jace and a Rise to go into a side lane and just collect farm over and over again, they got to make something of it.
That they do. We need to see Hero having an impact. He has just been sitting in the side lane against Pos. He's got a big CS lead, as he said, so needs to really do something with it. So far, Pos has been absorbing pressure very, very well. Penguin as well, 5 kills. Has sort of just been grubbing them a little bit. I don't know if he's earned all 5, but 5 he has nonetheless. So we may see some big power out of the Lee Sin. Is Baron on the map. I don't think Cerberus is going to have another crack at it, though.
Yeah, this Baron's in a really weird place where it feels like Cerberus, they don't want to give a full potential to something like this without at least the possibility of not losing the game over it, right? Because if they full commit to it, they could probably take it. But again, their consistent damage isn't particularly high. Like Artemis has a ton of damage, but he's the only one with like that much consistent damage. Fuquan and Yato obviously still have some, but it's not enough to assist against something like that. That's pretty much Artemis's job. And he's also the main damage dealer, which is kind of the deficit of having just one of these primary carries, right? You have an Azir in this composition, all of a sudden you can kind of play on two fronts, but you can't do that if you've only got the one.
Australia's being popped. They're really going in. Zhu Hao is able to use the quickness to get away, so good disengage, Team Secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really well played actually by Zhu Hao. The flash from Eddie was also necessary, which is unfortunate, especially because there's no Gale Force on this Jinx. It's the Kraken Slayer for bonus damage, but you're going to take that because that was fishing coming out from the side of Cerberus, even though they don't know the summoners. What is happening? Okay.
Got hit by a charm, but the follow-up didn't quite land. Now Fook takes some damage off of the arrival. They move forward. Artifact goes low, goes down to the Graviton.
There we go.
So finally, the pick is found. Cerberus walking up mid. Their health bars are full. And Team Secret have just been sort of out-muscled.
Yeah, making great on the use of the Ari Charm a number of times in right there. Especially fantastic. They're able to get it onto Zhu Hao to start things off. That means there's no supports. There's no kind of counter-engage to come out from the Rakan. And you combine... That was the boldest decision in the entire world, to back right there. And then also to stand firm as the Q was coming in. That was kind of insane. So Yato with some of the gutsiest moves I've ever seen in my entire life. But they're right back to baiting the Baron. They got green-white once again, which is fantastic setup to try to blitz down this Baron once again. Also able to kind of stand out in front, make sure that everybody has to stay a little bit else. Penguin's got to wrap around right now. He's so late. He's so late, though.
He is later than me to my morning classes. As, Yato, that's a lovely charm. Played the off angle, got it well. Poss gets a double knock up as well. In goes the hook, it lands. Cerberus, you didn't need this fight, but they've taken it anyway, and now Artemis gets in range. 2 for 2 at the moment, but Artemis with a full stick of health. Yato moves forward. Ooh, bad combo there. Doesn't quite land it. As he takes a bit of damage. They can't jump into Artemis, though. Not with blue-white. Oh, Fook, he's in some trouble. Has been found by Penguin, but Gordrink is a good item, Rebel. So he heals him back up. Team Secret managing to back off. They did get those 2 kills, but Artemis doesn't seem to want to let him go. He wants himself a Hextech Soul.
Artemis is extremely strong, has 0 health missing, and really wants to fight the remaining members of this team. Penguin's got to try to steal this, but I don't think he's got an angle for it. He's going to hit. Oh,
close.
Oh, okay, there it is. Yep, that's a loss. Oh, tragic.
Had to go for it. Doesn't work out. Does die for it. So now, Cerberus have Baron, they have Hextech Soul, and they've got Artifelios well and truly online.
It's a position now in a game like this where Team Secret were able to claw back the gold very effectively and has gotten gold onto carries that are going to be important, but they've done nothing to slow down Cerberus in the process. And so now Cerberus, they get to be the beneficiaries by saying, okay, now we have this front line, which consists of a massive Xin Zhao, who's sitting on multiple armor items, combined with Poss, who's sitting on like 3 full tank items. Behind that, we have a lot of pick potential with Yato. We've got a ton of team fighting potential with Artemis, and we have a lot of disengage that can come through too. Again, this is a well-rounded composition that Cerberus wasn't slowed down in the process of using. Oh no. Oh, poor Artifact.
Well, he's an Artifact now. They'll dig him up in a couple hundred years. Because he's really not had an impact on this game. The rise has not been super impressive.
No.
I mean, Cerberus, for the last little bit, have just been really calling all the shots, mostly just because Artemis has a bullhorn to call them through at the moment. But they're just going to walk into the base, get this one over and done with. Penguin tries to make a play, gets thoroughly rejected. They turn around. They haven't actually killed him quite yet as he goes gold. Ooh. Poss throws out the barrel. Penguin does finally go down to Artemis. But for now, Team Secret will hold. The game continues.
It will. And it's not... Cerberus is usually not the team that's going to make a mistake that's going to cost them a game right at the opposing nexus. So they're going to pull out before anything bad truly happens. Yato wants some shenanigans. Thankfully, Zhu Hao is a little bit tankier. He's got the Guardian. He's able to get away from that situation. But the siege continues from Cerberus just because they had a wave pushing in bottom side, so it's going to net them another tower. They got the mid inhibitor down. The damage is done to the opposing base. The 5,000 gold lead, the Hextech Soul, everything is kind of in place for Cerberus to be able to continue a game like this to pretty solid avail. a 4,000 gold deficit is Eddie right now against Artemis, who's more fed than Mobby at an arachnid factory. So that's kind of crazy.
This joke has a lot of legs.
Oh.
Oh my word! But Cerberus, yeah. Look, Cerberus is not the kind of team that's just gonna go whole hog to try and end the game before it needs to. Penguin, a little bit caught, has a lot of mobility, of course, on the Lee Sin. Will ward hop away, so he lives. But
I blame Ron OP for that. Ron OP's lantern didn't get over the wall. He would have been able to drag Yato into position to land a charm, and they could have done more. Although it doesn't matter, because again, Cerberus, they don't find that strike, but they've got more than enough winning condition here. They're almost on a 5-item Aphelios, so he's almost completely full build. I think he's got a pot running right now as well, so it's near impossible for them to do anything if they can't find any access onto Artemis. That is Penguin's job more than anybody else. Maybe Artifact if he's able to get a Sod ultimate, but Hero right now going down, potentially to Yato.
Yeah, Yato did some crazy stuff there on the Ari. Leads to 2 kills, does cost him most of his health bar, but that really doesn't matter, as in goes Zhu Hao. He dies before he can really land the charm, and this is going to be the final collapse of Team Secret, as Artifact uses the Zhonya's to buy himself a little bit more time, but it doesn't matter when the rest of your team melts away, and you join them in the afterlife soon enough. And Cerberus, it took him 31 minutes, but it was a fairly clean half an hour, Rebel, and they will take the Nexus, and they will take Game 1.
It wasn't the fastest acceleration coming through.